Well, good morning and welcome to 755 Live, about 5 minutes of what Jesus said. You can find a different command of Jesus on our daily Bible plan. Every weekday, there's a new command of Jesus and a little soundbite. We call it Jesus Said. And today's Jesus Said is pretty simple. It's from John 14:15, and it's just do what I said, from John 14:15. And the actual verse says, if you love me, obey my commandments. Jesus said, do what I said. Many times we miss the simplicity of what Jesus really commanded, and that how we follow him is by obeying his commands, not just understanding what he said, or not just being part of some group or organization or collection of beliefs. But he said, if you love me, you'll do what I said. One of my favorite analogies is a football coach right before the game gathers all the players in the locker room and says, okay, let's go win this game. And the coach leaves and goes out to the playing field. And the players stay in the locker room and they begin to talk about what the coach said. And so the quarterback says, hey, let's all repeat what the coach says. But instead of going and winning the game, they stay in the locker room and talk about what the coach said. Later, the quarterback stands up and he analyzes what the coach said. And he says, I've been studying the history of our coach, and he was actually born in Texas, grew up in Texas. And, in Texas, they say everything is bigger in Texas. And so I think what the coach really meant when he said, let's go win the game, I think he really meant let's go win the game bigger than any other time. So let's talk about what that means. But yet they still stayed in the locker room and didn't go play the game. Later, the wide receiver stands up and says, hey, I've got a letter here that I found from one of the coach's former players on another team. And I want to read this, and let's talk about how that this former player played the game. And once again, all of the players just stayed in the locker room and didn't go play the game. They didn't actually do what the coach said. They didn't go win the game. All they did was talk about it. Many times, I think, as the church and myself, we are guilty as Jesus followers of spending a lot of time talking about what he said, spending a lot of time looking at the history of our faith. And nothing is wrong with any of that, but it's only good if it empowers us to actually do what Jesus said. And he said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. I'm reminded of James 1:22, where this follower of Jesus, he said, don't just be hearers of the word, but be doers of the word as well. And in the Greek in that verse, the word for word is actually logos, the same as John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, was the Logos, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. If we believe that Jesus is the Word and that his words are the way, that he is the way, the truth, and the life, then we should obey what he said. And it's not really that complicated. He said to love your neighbor. He said to pray for your enemies. He said to be generous. He said to always pray. And he also said to go make disciples, baptizing them and teaching them all the things that I have commanded you. That's what Jesus said. And if we love him, that's what we will do. And it's really easy to get distracted in the locker room and to get caught up in discussing the details. But really, doing what he said is how that we actually show our love for him. So if you're a follower of Jesus today, I just want to challenge you. What did he say? And how can we do that? Jesus said to do what I said. If you love me, obey my commands. How can we put that into practice?